Good morning. This is Angela with a cup of tea on Thursday, August 11th, 2011. What a great way to start, right? A big sigh. This is interesting, and it surprised me but didn't, because I know we're going to start getting to a little bit some stickier topics, probably a little more complex, and things are changing, and so as they're changing, these are going to obviously change a little bit too. And this particular topic has come up a lot lately. In fact, I think I've had this conversation probably 3 or 4 times this week alone with different people. And it's a valid question, valid concerns, and that is talking about the transition period that we're going through right now, in our world. And it's not just metaphysically and energetically, but very physically. We have a lot of things around us that are falling apart. And so I have a lot of people that come to me and they say, well, I know you talk about, being positive and being at peace and staying in the heart and staying in love, but yet look at all of the mess that's around us and look at what's falling apart and look at, the financial system, the political system, not just in our country, all over the world, and, all of this unrest and stuff like that. So how do you stay in peace? How do you stay in light? How do you stay in love? And be able to cope with all this and still accept it, because how is that, how is that of the light? How is that good? Well, that goes back to good and bad is very subjective, and we've created it. We've created the idea of duality. We've created the experience just so we could experience it. And what has happened is we have become, and I've talked about this in many of the webcasts, on how we have become creatures of habit over thousands and thousands of years. We have become comfortable with our experiences in disempowering ourselves and giving our power to others, that we feel like others are in control of our lives and in control of our destiny, and that we have to follow what others tell us we have to do in many respects. And that alone is a topic for another day, but it's just sort of the beginning to illustrate how we have become so comfortable with the what we consider the evils of our world and the things that we find distasteful and not serving us, that we allow it to happen. And it's our comfort zone, because we understand it. We might not understand it, but we understand that we don't understand it, kind of thing. It's a known evil. So what's happening is we are coming to this level of transformation. Our vibrations are rising. The entire earth is changing. And we're trying, and we're working towards that level of enlightenment, of that Earth 2.0, which is that next level of existence and living from the heart and being connected again, and being much more conscious of our oneness. And to do that, we have to let everything that doesn't serve us fall away. So, somebody might think, well, okay, but I stopped biting my nails, that didn't serve me, so it fell away. But look at what's falling apart in the world around us right now. What's falling apart are the things that do not serve us. Meaning do not serve us as a collective, as the oneness of divinity, and what does not serve us, and what disempowers us, and what we've allowed to happen in disempowering us. So in taking our empowerment back, in taking our divinity back, and awakening to what beautiful and powerful creatures we are erasing and getting rid of all the other stuff that doesn't serve us, that was part of the experience of trying to see what it was like to feel like we were separate from the divine. And in the process, we have to go through some change. So in many respects, we've become such creatures of habit, and habit is something we have also, created in this existence, and we become comfortable with it, that if it's not comfortable to us, we look at it as bad. And so if it's change and destruction of the prisons, whether it's mental or physical, whatever, that surround us, then we're thinking it's a bad thing. But, it's going to take me, I'm going to go back to my visit to New Mexico and Keisha Crowther, who they call Little Grandmother, and she said, remember that the walls that are tumbling down around you are the ones that have kept you in prison. And that is so perfectly said. And I cannot state, back that statement any more strongly than I do, and I use it again and again because it's true. It is what has kept us from remembering our divinity. It is what we've chosen to use to disempower ourselves, and now it doesn't serve us anymore. It's not going to serve us in this evolved existence. It's not going to serve us, so we're getting rid of it. So the key here is this: it's going to fall away, whether we hold on tight because we're comfortable with the discomfort, or we let go of it and let it fall away. It's going to happen. So it's our choice on how much ease and grace we have with all that stuff as it happens. Whether we say, okay, you know what, that doesn't serve me anymore, I'm just getting rid of it. Or, oh, I want to hold on tight, and this coat, this doesn't fit me anymore, and it's uncomfortable, and it's got holes in it, and it's scratchy, but it's a coat. Versus, okay, I can let go of the coat, and you know what, the weather might not be so bad, and I might not need a coat anymore. Think of it in those kind of terms. And the other part is this: all of this adds up to being at peace within ourselves. And I had one of my guides come to me, I don't know, sometime within the last couple of months, and said, okay, we're at this crux, we're at this, the edge, and it's time. And I just want to remind you, and remind all the others who you work with and who you talk to be the peace in the storm, to be the calm in the storm. To remain that way, and the message there is to be at peace with yourself, and to stay in love, and to stay in the heart, because the panic is from the ego, it's from the mind, and what's happening is what the ego has experienced and what it has been created for, which is the collection of experiences on this plane, on the Earth 3D plane, is falling away, and so it's panicking. And that's okay. And our job is to stay in our heart, to stay connected to our higher selves, and say, it's okay, because it's going to be better. It's going to be better. And all we're doing is we're erasing away all this stuff that doesn't serve us. So each of us has many things in our lives that don't serve us, but we've become comfortable with them. So they will cause friction. They cause discord and uneasiness, or just negligence, or just refusal to acknowledge. And so then what happens is something happens to shift that and bring it into our consciousness. And the more we can stay in our heart and ask our higher selves, and be connected to our higher selves, and see things from that larger perspective, and say, does this serve me? And that's everything. You might say, oh, well, I quit, biting my nails, or I quit eating sweets, or, whatever. But the key is, the larger things, is this job serving me? Is what I do serving me? Is my relationship serving me? Are my relationships serving me? Is the lifestyle I have serving me? All these kind of things. And I'm talking about in the highest and best way. Not in a way of having power over others, but actually just all we need to concern ourselves with is the highest and best for ourselves. Because in essence, also, once we are concerned really with that, we are concerned with all the others, and realizing that everybody else, we're all part of the same thing. We're all sparks of the divine. And then you start looking at everybody and everything else differently. Well, if we are all part of the same thing, if you're me, then how am I going to want to treat you? I want to treat you the way I want to be treated. And if we all actually started acting from that place, well, then you'd see how quickly the shift would not only happen even faster, but in so much more of a grace and ease kind of way. So a lot of things to consider here. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It's it's just the way to start looking at our transition period, and to remember, as all of these things are changing and falling apart because they don't serve us anymore, that to stay peaceful within and to stay connected and clear. And remember that part of this, this is that it's a hologram. It's what we've created. So we can change it. You know, we're the creators as well. I want you to think about that over the weekend, and think about what in your life is not serving you and that can fall away, and that would be easier for you to let go of. And some of this can be really hard to let go, because you have to get past the ego, and we really have to get back into our heart. So, you know, take a couple of things, find 2 things in your life that don't serve you anymore and that you can change or let it fall away. And on that, we'll talk on Monday. This is Angela with a Cup of Tea. Have a good one.